Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. My name is Agnes van Rhijn, and I'm a holistic business mentor to professional women who want to reach their full potential in life and in business without giving up who they are and what is important to them. I'm also the founder and the host of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. And today it is my privilege to be interviewing Kristy Jones. Kristy is a corporate exit strategist for women who love their corporate careers but yearn for something more. She balances her innate ability and experience as a team and business builder with her relationship building skills and takes her clients from anxious and fearful to excited and confident. When she's not guiding her clients, she can be found spending time with her friends, family, and pets in her home in Michigan. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, Kristy. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So, Kristy, I don't know much of your story, so I'm going to discover it with the viewers.
Sure.
So just start wherever you want. Tell us about you, your dream, and what you've realized.
Of course. I spent 15 years in financial services, working for large financial institutions here in the United States, mostly in the Midwest. And in about 2008, 2009, I had been working in my dream job. Fabulous, six-figure earner, all of the different perks, expense report, car, all of those different types of things that come with the territory. And I was actually in the midst of taking another investment test. And multiple times I had taken that test. And stress, having to go ahead and work through a wide variety of different things, I didn't pass that test. And it was something that was required of me. So I was placed into a different type of position. And lo and behold, we kind of have those ups and those downs in our careers. And that was kind of one of those ups, and then it became a down. And my husband and I at the time moved to Madison, Wisconsin. Shortly after that, I was kind of to the point where I was like, lots of defeat and lots of frustration, lots of things to go ahead and personally work through. I almost feel like I look back on that time as to look at that one of those as a turning point in my life. And a couple of years later, my husband and I ended up getting a divorce. It was a very devastating type of thing, for me, and very kind of out of the blue. How in the world do you have a divorce? It's out of the blue, but you do. And kind of having to go ahead and really rebuild my life, being able to go ahead and look and see what my life was like. What did I need to go ahead and change? And I started looking at the patterns that I had been creating. And I had taken a job with another financial institution in Madison when we moved, and it was okay. But it wasn't fulfilling anymore. And I got to the point where I wanted something different. I wanted something more. And a couple years, about 18 months ago, we had a family friend pass away, a very, very close family friend. And smack dab in the middle of my mom and my brother, I sat there and I thought to myself, how in the world am I going to be known? What kind of legacy am I going to go ahead and leave? And I looked back and thought, I'm going to be known as Kristy the Banker. Do I really want to be known as Kristy the Banker? Like, what else is there in my life? I was so wrapped up. My identity was so wrapped up in my career, and that's who I was, that I needed to go ahead and figure out who Kristy was. And that's what this journey has been about. At least my entrepreneurial journey has been about. And it's something where I feel like, 18 months ago, I didn't feel like I had a voice. 8 years ago, yeah.
It's interesting. I went through that experience myself, but it really is a repeating pattern. I hear it everywhere. This moment in life, we don't know where it comes from, where all of a sudden you have a sense that there must be so much more than this only. And we cannot pinpoint it. Usually you don't wake up with all those answers. Takes a time. But there's that frustration, that nagging feeling, and that keeps eating. us. And what I find interesting is what you described as you have been working on finding the patterns. So you understood that somehow you were the actor of all of that. I've absolutely experienced, and that has been a real turning point. The moment you start looking inside, you start understanding that you have followed a certain pattern that you probably weren't conscious of. That's when you can start raising that awareness, and things can start shifting. Yeah,
definitely.
So tell us more. What next?
Definitely. I started off in my entrepreneurial journey really trying to combine my health coaching business and a network marketing business. And I went through a lot of clarity. And then I realized that there were individuals that are like me, that were in corporate, that are still trying to identify who they are. And I hear it over and over and over and over again. To be able to go ahead and identify, and just they're tired of drinking the company Kool-Aid. They've been there for 15, 20 years, long time.
25 in my case.
Yep. And for me, it was 15. And you just get to the point where you have this identifying factor that happens. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. I mean, it could be the birth of a child. It could be, a death in the family, for instance, like my situation. But you identify like this soul awakening kind of situation. And you go back and you think to yourself, wow, this is pretty cool. And I went back and I started looking at what was I really good at, and being able to go ahead and pull those pieces of what I learned from corporate, and being able to go ahead and help other individuals that are still in corporate, both men and women that are still in corporate, that want something more, and they want to go ahead and find what their purpose is.
Yeah, that's so I would like to bounce back on what you say about the purpose, because if I rewind, I would not have been able to say back then, at least at the beginning, that what I wanted was more purpose. How do you, what is your experience with that? Are they conscious that they're in search for?
I think that they're aware that they want something more.
Something more, but not necessarily knowing what, huh?
They just don't know what. And it's that exploration process, and what we would go ahead and define as clarity, and being able to give them the space. And for instance, for myself, I just up and left. I was like, bye, I called my boss and told him that, you know what, today is my last day. I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to leave my keys in my desk and I'm done. And I'm going to walk out. We're an at-will employer. I'm done. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing something like that.
I agree.
And I wouldn't tell my clients to go ahead and do something like that. But for me, as they're confident, go ahead and walk through that process with them to explore what another business might look like. And be able to take what they have as far as their passions, and being able to go ahead and establish that in a business sense. So, and being able to go ahead and help them move forward with that, and allowing them to realize that it's okay to go ahead and make some changes. And that's the natural gradual process that as you grow.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You're not going to go ahead and stay the same. Giving them that permission, because nobody gave me that permission. I didn't know that.
Yeah, for me, it's been a very long journey, because it took me 6 years. 6 years before I finally, and it wasn't even conscious. I didn't wake up one day thinking, oh, now I know. I just went for a coaching training that synchronicity, that life threw my way. And when I went to the first day of the first workshop, I went like, wow, that's it. Then I had this, I recognize it, but it took me 6 years before I actually was able to identify what it was. So it can be a long journey, and that's why I think it's so important to not stay alone in your corner, but do approach a mentor, find someone, a coach who can help you. It would definitely have saved me a lot of time if I would have had that. I mean, for me, it's 10 years ago, and it was in France, where they are 15 years behind in terms of coaching overall speaking. But finding that help is absolutely someone who went through it on top of it.
Well, and I think there's so many individuals that are out there. I have so many individuals that approach me that are just really scared, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I've repeated like this merger process. The company that I've worked for, has changed hands multiple times. I'm on the verge of burnout. What do I do?
That's another one.
And I'm literally at my very last effort here, and I don't know how much more I can go ahead and take. And so it's really working with them as well to go ahead and figure out, and maybe it's not even necessarily being an entrepreneur, because that may not necessarily be the right thing for them. Absolutely. And being able to go ahead and help them identify what it is that may be something else that they are qualified to do, giving them that encouragement and allowing them to go ahead and move forward.
Yeah, it's a very good point that you're mentioning. I do remember one many years ago, a corporate client who the company sent him to me. In essence, the turning point for him had been that one day he arrived home and his suitcases were in front of the door, but outside. So obviously he went like, something happens here, so I should do something about it. But so he was in that job and just going with it without realizing all the implications, in fact. And so we looked at when the company approached me, I said, you're conscious that the answer may be that he will be leaving. They were happy with that. But the end result is that we found, based on identifying everything he was good at, another position within the firm that worked for him and that worked with his private life. And we sorted it that way. So he didn't had to leave in the end. It was just looking at what would work better for him.
I have a lot of individuals that approach me and they're like, I do this currently, or I have a degree in this. How does that translate to doing something different? And how can I take those skills and be able to go ahead and do something different? And we look and we see, okay, what else might be out there that's either equal to where you're at in the salary range or higher, because you certainly don't want to go ahead and go lower, but it's the opportunities that are actually available and then helping them make those connections.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I know people, they know people. It's reaching out and being able to go ahead and use those connections that they have and encouraging them to go ahead and do something different.
Yeah, I think that what's really important, in fact, is that they, as I mentioned before we started the recording, is that they step into the driver's seat again. In fact, when we arrived at that point, it's because ultimately we're not in charge anymore. Life is controlling us, and we let it happen. Yep. Where if we can be in a state of more awareness of what is good for us, then we can start making conscious choices, and that leads to complete different results.
Sure, and I think that's happened to both of us.
Absolutely. So in that process, because we do want to inspire other women to go after their dreams too, what did you find most challenging?
I think that it was just knowing, my worth and knowing and having been really, really successful in an environment that I felt comfortable in, transferring those skills and having it take time for me to really get comfortable and be not afraid in owning, the skills that I have and really building that confidence. I think has taken some time. I feel like I almost beat up, and I really had to go ahead and work through who I was, find my voice, and being able to go ahead and really shine. And last week, it's been pretty incredible to go ahead and watch the journey and look back 12 months.
Yep.
Because I have grown so much in 12 months. I was talking with another friend, and there are things that I would not do 12 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I have no fear over now.
Yeah.
And I think it's like that fear that like it's using that fear that's there to spur you on, rather than
I love
allowing it
that.
to go ahead and actually let you sit there and stew in it, but allow it to be a motivating factor, because it's not going to hurt you.
No, that's what I always call use fear as a fuel instead of letting it paralyze you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a constantly returning topic, and I keep repeating it. In life, fear will always be there, always, for every single one of us. But it's what you do with it.
Yep. Well, I mean, there's fear of success. There's fear of judgment. There's fear of rejection. There's so many different types of fears that come up. And I actually did a post last weekend about it, because again, fear was coming up, and I use my writing as more almost therapeutic for me, because I know that if I'm facing it, there's going to be somebody else that's going to go ahead and face it as well.
Absolutely.
So.
Absolutely. No, that's a very strong one. So if I hear what you're saying, one of the things that you would give as a tip, I would assume, based on what you just expressed, is also the fact that you need to have the patience to let things unfold, and not let yourself being stopped by things not happening quickly enough, or at the rhythm that you would want it.
It's also being able to reach out to other individuals that are within your inner circle, and knowing who is in your inner circle, who can I go ahead and who is there to go ahead and support me when I'm having a moment, when I'm facing that fear. Who can go ahead and help guide you through it, or remind you that it's just a phase. And a lot of times, like with my clients that come to me, I will get to know them on a level that I can identify. Is this something, that's a fear, or is this something that do I need to go ahead and gently push them and allow them and encourage them to take action on one or two items? Go ahead and push through it, because once you do that and take that action, you're going to look back 2 weeks from now and go, what was that all about?
That's exactly.
In the immediate, 3 a.m. time period, like that lasts an awful long time when you're there by yourself in that, oh, what am I doing like now kind of phase. That lasts an awful long time. Reach out, get support.
Yeah, so there is the get support as an important tip, but embedded in what you're saying is also that they are asking for help. They're say, I'm not in a good place. They're say, I don't know. Can someone help me? It's okay. And you would be surprised once you start saying so, how many people will A, reach out, and B, will say, I went through the same. Because we have this tendency to believe that what we're experiencing, we're the only one experiencing it.
That's true.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when we start talking about it, we start seeing that we're not alone. So much more. So tell us, who do you work with, and where can people find you?
Sure. I work with corporate men and women to go ahead and help them find their purpose and do bigger and better things, whether that be still in corporate or whether they decide they want to go ahead and transition out of corporate. So as a corporate exit strategist. And they can find me at www.Kristy, Kristy, Jones.co.
Excellent. And with the usual online presence, I suppose, that can all be found on your website.
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. So what do you see as your next step? What is it that if we are now, at the verge of 2017, what are your big goals for next year?
My big goal is really to be to have an even more of an online presence. I spent some time, like I said, in fear in 2016, really being able to go ahead and display a presence like this, doing more of these types of things, doing more Facebook Live, being able to go ahead and do some more podcasts, and really being able to go ahead and grow presentation and speaking skills. So that's certainly something that I'm really looking forward to. So it's on the agenda, and really excited. So.
You're just going to make it happen.
Yes, I am.
Excellent. Kristys, thank you so much for your time. And it's been really lovely to have you. And so for the viewers and the listeners, because there is an audio version of this interview also, you can book a complimentary discovery consultation with me. So whether you are at that phase where you want to break that self-imposed glass ceiling of yours, or whether you are at a phase where you want to transition from having a passion into creating and transforming it into a fulfilling business. Or if you want your brand to be more visible because you already have that business, or if you've recreated the rat race that you left when you were in the corporate world, then I can definitely help you to work on your business. I'm no longer in it. So book that consultation with me and we can find out how I can help you move forward. You can do that on my website, www.agnesvanrhijn.com, and that is ANYESVANRHIJN.com. Thank you so much and see you in the next episode. Bye.